So today we're going to be talking about production part approval. In this series of videos, we've been talking about the customer specific requirements, including the automotive core tools. And now what we're doing is accumulating that into bringing this together to get approval from the customer of any new product or any modified product that we are supplying them. So welcome back, Devin and Dawn, for the last in this office series on this second competency in the IATF Auditor Guide, customer specific requirements incorporating the automotive core tools. So Devin, production part approval. How does the organization know what part approval process to use?
So obviously it's going to be in the CSRs, right? Or if you don't have the CSRs, what the organization requires. Um, Most people are familiar with PPAP, but IATF doesn't state that it has to be PPAP.
Right, okay, and that's important because I think a lot of auditors always go for the blue book and say you have to comply with this, but we know that's not what IATF says. That IATF says you have to have a part approval process recognized by your customer. And Dawn, really, what is the production part approval trying to do? What's the purpose of it?
It's providing the customer with information about the parts and
Right,
how they've actually been qualified. And it's all about the actual process itself. So
right,
you might have control plan as a requirement, FMEA as a
yeah,
requirement. It's important, as Devon said, that it's not specifically PPAP anymore.
yeah,
But a lot of these requirements that we're looking at in terms of process approval are required by the IATF standard anyway. So such as control plan, FMEA, you have to have them regardless of whether or not they're a requirement.
right. Okay, and I think that's again important then. That really, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but what this part approval is, it's pulling together all of this information that has been developed in the new product introduction process and providing the information in a format that is recognized by the customer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I think there's some misconceptions around that. Oh, the customer doesn't require part approval,
Yeah.
therefore we don't need to do an FMEA. That's absolutely not the case. Okay. Devon, what might be situations then that the organization have to go back and revisit the part approval with the customer?
Yeah, so obviously anytime you have a change to your part or change the process, the customer will often require, but check with the customer to
Yeah.
make sure that they do in fact require it for this specific case.
Right. So it seems to be a theme running through this series about understanding customer specific requirements, that different customers will have different rules as to what situations would trigger another part approval.
And some will actually require an annual revalidation, which may take the form of a product
Yeah.
approval, an
Yeah. So it's
additional one.
understanding those customer
Yeah.
requirements. And Dawn, the organization has to submit part approval to the customer. Does the organization have to do anything to their suppliers? What's that relationship?
You previous version of IATF
Yeah.
did actually set it out a little bit more clearly
Yeah.
in the fact that PPAP had to be passed on to suppliers as well.
Yeah.
But the expectation is that you want to qualify those component parts.
Right. So the organization has to have some process to qualify those
Yeah,
parts, but it needn't necessarily be in the same format that is specified by the customer unless it's a customer specific requirement.
exactly. Yes,
Okay.
customer is king.
So let's summarize then. So really this product approval process, the method that the organization used for that is not specified in IATF. That would depend on customer specific requirements. But irrespective of that, the organization still has to effectively develop and implement all of the required core tools meeting the requirements of IATF. So they still have to develop FMEAs, they still have to develop control plans, they still have to develop measurement system analysis, they still have to develop and understand process capability, but the format that they submit that information to the customer will depend on customer specific requirements. And then the need to resubmit any part approval, for example, as Devin said, in light of changes, will depend on customer specific requirements.